development and diagnostics. Moving on to drugs, it's a pleasure to invite Anil Koul, Director of IMTECH, Institute of Microbial Technologies, associated with the Indian government, CSIR, Council for Scientific and Industrial Resources. And he will talk to us about what IMTECH and CSIR are doing in India on new drug development. Anil.
So I think this gives an echo, so I will use this one. Yeah. So good afternoon, everybody. So I will tell you the story about this particular slide. So this slide tells you basically the journey in search of a new TB drug. So at the extreme left, what you see is my picture in 1996, when I had a little bit more here, and I was a little bit thinner. So this is a slide which was put in when I started doing the TB research in front of the poster. So as luck would have been, then in 2013, I was part of the team which was Bedaquiline ceremony team, which was happening in the US. And we discovered Bedaquiline we discovered and developed Bedaquiline during all those years. So way forward in 2016, what you see is basically the Bedaquiline launch in India. This was the most memorable moment for me, to be honest with you, because I come from India, so I have seen what TB does to India. And what you see is a map of India, and actually the representation is not coming there, but in that map of India, we have 6 centers in India where Bedaquiline is currently being given on conditional access. So in the middle figure, what you also see is on the extreme right is Dr. Paul Stoffels. He is here with us today. So he has been what we call guardian angel for this project, because without him, Bedaquiline wouldn't have seen the life of what we see it today. So for TB eradication, let me tell you one thing. India matters. Because India is a nation of 1.3 billion people. And out of 1.3 billion people, we have 1 death every minute because of TB in India. So the nation suffers a lot. So that's why in 2016, I made a kind of a conscious decision that I will move back to India. I will work with government of India and help them in their mission, in their ambitious mission to eradicate tuberculosis. So that is my story in terms of starting as a TB researcher, having the chance, having the luck, having the destiny to work with Bedaquiline, going back to India and trying to help the nation in the government sector to discover and solve the problem of tuberculosis in India. But how do we do that? How do we do that? We do that through innovation. So I think this word which is out here is the most critical thing right now is innovation. And how do we innovate? So we innovate So we innovate. What you see basically is innovation in TB drug discovery is these 4 switches. So actually these are the 4 switches there. And the graphics is not coming right, but it's okay. You can see it. So these are the 4 switches. And these 4 switches are basically the 4 proteins of Mycobacterium tuberculosis. So as Paul has already said, that we have already targeted one of those switches. So that switch is the ATP synthase. We have Bedaquiline switching off that thing. And the rest of the 3 switches, what we have these, they all supply energy. They all supply a sense of life to TB. And what we have seen is that we have discovered new molecules which can block all the 4 parts of this power grid of TB. The moment you switch all the 4 switches off, you have fantastic efficacy. That's what we have in innovation in TB. That you block all the 4 switches and you combine all the 4 molecules together, you have completely synergistic mechanism of action. So this is the dream. The dream is that we have these 4 molecules coming together. We have these 4 new targets coming together, and all of them work by mechanism of synergy. And the moment you have synergy, you kill TB bacteria fast, you kill TB bacteria very efficiently, and you kill TB bacteria in much, much shorter time. To be honest, we have the data in vitro, in mice, which tells you that we can shorten the treatment duration, maybe by half. So that will be a game changer. So, as I said that this is all about synergy. One of these molecules is already there in the market. Another one is already going in the phase 1 clinical trial sometime soon. So the progress is amazing in terms of developing this new regimen. So what are the key characteristics of this particular regimen? I call it basically that it has to be a universal treatment. It doesn't differentiate what kind of a resistance you have, whether you have drug susceptible TB or whether you have the MDR TB. You don't need any DST. So that will be the game changer. You will, and on the other front, it's extremely bactericidal. It kills, as I said, that it kills very fast because you block the energy, essence of life for TB, and you bring TB into the dark ages. Never ever seen something like this happening. So, of course, it has to be oral, no injectables. It has to be safe. It has to be compatible with HIV drugs. That's what we are looking for. And I think our aspiration and a goal, we talked about aspiration and dreams. Our dream, me as a researcher, having worked in the TB field for the last 20 years, my dream is that can we have a single pill to treat TB for 2 to 3 months? And this has happened. Dr. Paul Stoffels, Dr. Anthony Fauci can tell you that how people like them changed the HIV field. When we used to have multiple pills for HIV treatment every day, and now the current treatment standard of HIV is single pill a day. And all the vaccine efforts they are doing in terms of HIV is all what they dreamt of, and that could happen. And I am telling you all, why cannot this happen for TB? Why can't we have a single fixed dose combination of all the 4 drugs which are listed out there into a single pill and use that pill to treat TB for, let's say, 3 to 4 months? We don't have that clinical data, but that's something which we are looking for. So what's it all about? It's all about synergies. Synergies of all the people who are here, whether you are from the communities, whether you are social workers, or whether you are funders, it's all about synergy. Synergy in terms of the targets, because I told you this is blocking the power supply. And the power supply blockage is shutting down the TB grid, energy grid. So that's where the synergy is coming from. Synergy in terms of mechanism of action, and synergy in terms of the partnerships. The partnerships, we cannot do it all alone. So as Government of India, as CSIR-IMTECH, which I am currently my role is, we have a memorandum of understanding with J&J to develop and elaborate on this strategy. A single pill regimen for TB, that's what our goal is. But the challenge is that these are 4 new drugs, or 3 new drugs. The 4th one is already there, Bedaquiline is already there. We have the 3 new drugs. To develop 3 new drugs, it's extremely costly. It's extremely resource intensive. It needs lots of resources. So what I plead you all, everybody who is in this room, is to help us, is to partner with us in whatever way you can. Whether it is funding, whether you have preclinical models, whether you have clinical sites, please come and help us and be our partners in fight for this, for TB, and in realizing this fantastic goal of having single pill for TB and treating TB in 3 to 4 months. Thank you.